Let's get a view from the US. Ryan Harris is here, a US political reporter. Ryan, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Now, there are plenty of people in the press here this morning saying this has been a great night for Keir Starmer. He's done terribly well. Donald Trump didn't humiliate him. He was nice to him. The meeting went very well. It was all genial, and, they were very much involved in a sort of bromance. But, I mean, for me, it was all a bit sort of embarrassing, really. But I mean, you may have a different view from your side of the pond. What did you make of it?
Well, no, I watched both the press gaggle in the Oval Office and the formal press conference, and especially in those Oval Office moments, it felt to me like such a love fest that my first thought was, has the Prime Minister switched sides and joined the Tories? I mean, it was just unbelievable the way he was fawning over Donald Trump.
I know.
But at the same time, one might even argue that was the wise move, because it seems to me that foreign leaders realize if you stoke Donald Trump's ego a little bit, you tend to get your way a little more. You get a more genial Trump. And so, it might have been a brilliant move if you want to look at it from that perspective.
Well, it might have been, and political writers in this country are kind of saying that, but my take is more from the popular view of the people on the streets of this country, the men and the women on the streets of this country. And like all things that Labour do, it wouldn't have been so bad if they'd always been quite sort of big fans of Trump. If Nigel Farage had done it, you would have expected that, because he's always been a good friend of Trump's and he's always got on with him. But this is a guy who spent a great deal of time not only saying that Trump was dangerous and that he was anti-Trump, his words, not mine, and members of his cabinet have called Trump a misogynist and a Nazi and a white supremacist. I mean, it wouldn't matter if they hadn't said any of those things, but they have said all of those things, so it makes them look like massive hypocrites.
Yes, and I do agree with that perspective, absolutely. The other thing that stood out to me was when Donald Trump said something to the effect of, well, when we talked about tariffs, that Mr. Starmer was negotiating hard against them. And he said, and I didn't like that very much.
Right. Yeah.
So clearly, behind closed doors, the Prime Minister was, at least giving a little bit of pushback. Although I suspect that same sort of cringeworthy attitude translated to the lunch meeting and the other closed door meetings.
Right.
But, when it comes to a trade agreement, the world seems to be, in a way, a little bit, with a few exceptions, running scared that Donald Trump will impose tariffs on other countries, including strong allies like the British. Now, Donald Trump has also, in the recent past, said, and I believe the phrase was, Europe really screwed us, or is screwing us, with the value-added tax. Well, the value-added tax has been something that's happened in Europe for decades now. It's not a new thing. It's just the way Europe does business.
It's a sales tax. I mean, it's the same as when you buy something in New York and you get a sales tax put on at the till when you pay for it. It's not anti-American. It's everybody pays it.
Exactly. And, other countries impose tariffs for whatever reason. But, in the meantime, we're all bracing over here for not only higher prices on things as a result of these tariffs, especially things that come from China, because it seems like every time I order something online and I think it's coming, from somewhere domestically, it turns out it's being shipped from China, and I really don't want it to be 25% more. Right. I also don't want Canadian oil, they're one of our biggest suppliers, to be 10% higher, because here in California, and I'm sorry I didn't do the math in advance, but we're paying about $4.50 a gallon for gas. Now, that's still considerably less than the British pay, but it's higher than most places in the country. And, we really don't want to see that go up, because we're also paying, $9 or $10 for a dozen eggs.
Yes. But, of course, the bottom line seems to be at the moment, having only been in for just over a month, Donald Trump is absolutely ripping up the rule book and getting his way on almost everything that he he touches. You know, he's doing incredibly well with Ukraine. There are some people in this country who think he's a dangerous man and he shouldn't be sucking up to Vladimir Putin. But the bottom line is that, you know, whatever he says he's going to do, he seems to be doing. And you know, in the end, all of the I guess the criticism of him will dwindle away if people become better off, if people get more of a boost to their salaries, if they start living a better life and all the rest of it. So I mean, I guess, you know, he's got another 3.9 years to go. Let's see what happens.
Agreed. But to your point about, you know, him doing the things that he promised he would do. Yes, he's doing that. He's signing a lot of executive orders, and he's already getting a great deal of pushback. And you know, there are lawsuits filed and court battles ahead. Those aren't going to be settled overnight. Those are going to take time. And you know, in terms of you know, people's concerns, you know, Donald Trump has indicated through statements and posts online that, you know, maybe the law doesn't necessarily apply to him as president, and that, you know, as long as he's saving the country, he's not violating the law. But we still have a constitution and rule of law in this country, and not everything Donald Trump is doing is going to be found to be up to constitutional or legal snuff.
Yeah. So you're supposed to be seeing Volodymyr Zelensky today, I believe, who presumably is either on his way to DC now as we speak, or is already there. I'm not sure. So that'll be another kind of, you know, opportunity, I suppose, a picture opportunity, a press release opportunity, a press conference, more journalists in the Oval Office. What are you expecting to see there?
Well, I'm interested to see if he'll apologize to President Zelensky for referring to him as a dictator. But I have to say, in terms of, you know, this setup leading up to a possible Ukrainian-Russian peace deal, Donald Trump was smart to try to secure this rare earth mineral deal first, because I get the sense that if they brokered the peace deal first and then Donald Trump tried to come in and you know, secure this minerals deal with President Zelensky, that Zelensky would essentially give him the middle finger. But you know, Zelensky is trying to broker or be part of a brokerage of a peace deal, and you know, Donald Trump wants the rights to these minerals and the ability to mine them, and so we'll see what happens there. But I suspect it'll be publicly probably a cordial meeting behind closed doors. You know, Volodymyr Zelensky does not mince words often. I suspect he might have a few choice words for Mr. Trump privately, and we'll have to see what happens. And of course, you know, there's no security guarantees, and the mineral deal is not a done deal. There's no guarantee that Zelensky will sign it. It's Donald Trump saying it'll be signed while he's there, but it's even the details haven't even all been hammered out, and you know, it's not clear what process Zelensky has to go through to sign it, you know, for his side and for his country. So we'll have to see how this all plays out.
Sure, we'll look forward to that. Ryan, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Ryan Harris, US political reporter there.